I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot, and I am Groot, I am Groot. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the channel. I'm Harrison, and you are here for Tutorial Tuesday. If you haven't guessed already, today we are drawing Baby Groot, one of my favorite characters from the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think this is going to be a fun one. So grab your pencils, pens, sketchbooks, and all of your space gadgets, and let's dive on into this one. So in the center of your page, I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna. Could you imagine if I did the entire lesson like that? Anyway, so in the center of our page, go ahead and draw a nice big circle. This is going to be our Baby Groot head. And go ahead and draw another circle about the same size just beneath that. That's going to be for the rest of Groot's body. We are going to be doing a comic book style version of Baby Groot, and his body is roughly the same size as his head. So the first thing we can do here is split this circle in half, and then you can add almost like a cone shape. This is going to help us define his body. Round off this shape at the base, and then from here, just at the corners where the circle and the head meet, we're going to be drawing a cylinder shape for his arms. And that shape is going to stop just about a fourth below the base of this. And then if you need to, you can make a guideline across. And that's Groot's body. We can split this, and this is going to be his legs. If you want to, you can round this off, but this is going to be a detail for later. Now to put some shaping into Groot's head, the base of his head is a little bit more squared off. So we can go ahead and just kind of square this circle. You don't want it to be exactly a square. You want a lot of more rounded lines to it, but Groot's face is a little bit more square shaped. And then just off the top of the head, we do have a big chunk of wood coming off here. So we can add that shape. And then this one kind of humps over. And then this one is a bit of a triangle. This is our generic basic shape for Baby Groot. And the last thing we can do before we start getting into the interior details is add his eyes. If you think about it a little bit more than halfway, about 1/3 of the way down, we're gonna draw his eyes. So if it helps you to split that in half or in thirds, you can do that. And we're going to add some really nice big circles. The bigger you make them, the more cute and cuddly he'll look, so that's up to you. I just want it to be proportionate to this face. And then from here we can add in the smile, and you're gonna want to do that about a third. If you split this lower third in half, kind of where you want Groot's smile. And now from here we can start adding in all of the details, little twigs, little branches, all of the way that his body is shaped. But before we do that, we're gonna go in and solidify a lot of these line choices that we've made. So starting here at the top of the head, this triangle has a little bit of a curve. The shape goes upward, follow that curve, and it kind of swoops in. This hump goes down. This one kind of comes up like that. But what we're doing here is just confirming and locking in these lines that we've put down so that when we go to erase, we know that we're not getting rid of the lines that we need to keep. And with this hand, we can actually just change it up because in this Baby Groot form, he's not fully complete. And if it helps you, you can take your eraser now and just lightly remove some of our more sketchy lines. It does look like we're getting rid of the drawing completely, but if you press hard enough with your confirmed lines, you won't lose everything that you've just put down. Now for some of the fun details, we're gonna add a little leaf here. We can add a little stick twig there, another one there. You can add as many as you want. And now you can start having some fun with Groot. We're gonna add in a lot of the wood grain texture that he has in his body. So starting with the head, you can add in a little bit here. And this is where you'll start seeing Groot really come to life. Adding all of this detail is what really kind of makes Groot Groot. You could leave it flat if you wanted. You would totally understand who that character is, but I think adding these lines and this texture really just makes the character pop. So now with the body, that's kind of where it gets a little bit more complex because there's a lot more going on. Some of the shapes, and I'm just gonna dash them in and then we can solidify those choices as we go. But we want to have some pectoral muscles. We still want to show that he's a humanoid figure with some definition and muscles. And then he does have a bit of abs. We can show the separation of his legs. And then from here, and he's got a couple toes. And a kneecap. And this all doesn't have to be this precise. You can do whatever you want, but for me, I like showing that there's some movement and different joints and things going on within the character. With the arm, it might look a little different, so we can show that there's like a shoulder and maybe a bit of a bicep. And then here is like a finger. And then on this side, we have a finger, the same thing, a shoulder, and a bicep. And you can have fun with the way these lines work. The more loose and like wobbly you are with these lines, the more it looks like tree bark. So from in here, now that we can solidify some of these, we can go back in. And I would say just have fun with this process. This is where it just really starts to come together. It doesn't have to be super precise. And one thing I would say is not all of your lines need to connect. In fact, I would suggest not letting your lines connect because everything will start to look more like muscles if you have everything connect, where you want it to look like wood. And I think that's as far as the detail I'm gonna take it to. I don't want there to be an overwhelming amount of detail. Clearly there's a lot more going on in the body than the head. We just don't want to lose Groot's face that way, so I think it's okay to put more in the body. And then we can go back to his eyes. Give him some little shiny glints in his eyes, and then we can shade that in. In fact, actually, I think these are bigger than one of those bigger than the other. And this is our baby Groot. This is all the pencil. This is everything you need. If you want to leave your drawing right here, you totally can. If you would like to ink your drawing, we're gonna do that right now. Using a fine liner, today I'm using a 0.8 micron. We are going to just ink the outline. We're gonna fill in the rest with thinner felt tip markers. So starting left to right, top to bottom, we're going to follow all of our lines precisely. And then I'm going to use a little hack here. I really want nice, perfect circles for his eyes, so I'm going to use my circle tool. And I'm just going to make sure he has really nice, crisp eyes. By no means do you need to do that at all. I just really wanted him to have really solid circles for eyeballs. And then we can take a thick Sharpie and fill in the rest. And the last thing we're going to do with our inking is fill in all of the interior detail with a green felt tip marker. But what I will do is wait about 15 to 20 minutes before I start doing that. I want to go in and erase, and then I want to add this marker not on top of this pencil directly, because then it might muddy the marker. So what we'll do is wait about 15 to 20 minutes, let this ink set and dry. That way it has some time to set into the paper and it won't smudge. If you've been following along with Tutorial Tuesday, you know I love to wait that 15 to 20 minute period just so that there's no smudging. If you watched last week's, you know that I smudged my paper. So actually today we used two different markers, a Sharpie and a different Micron. So hopefully the paper will like those a little bit more. So let's just give it that time and we'll pop back in here and erase. Alright, taking your kneaded eraser or whatever eraser you have, I prefer a kneaded eraser just because it doesn't really rip up your paper. You can reuse it, you can fold it and bend it and change it, and you can pinch it and get really tiny into some really tiny crevices if you need to erase. I love a good kneaded eraser. So going with my kneaded eraser in light circles, we're going to go through and just lightly press and remove some of these sketchy lines that we made prior. If you need to, you can press a lot firmer and you can pick up a lot of those pencil lines from before. I just don't want to completely lose everything that we've picked up. The other great thing about a kneaded eraser is that it doesn't leave any eraser shavings behind. If it does, that just means that it might be old and dried out. You might want to think about getting a new one. So using our green felt tip marker, we're going to go through and add some of these detail lines. Just remember when you are erasing that if you are erasing too much, you might lose where some of these lines were. And the last thing I'm going to do is use my Presto Jumbo Whiteout, and I'm just going to enhance these little glints in his eye. We don't have anything to white out, but I do love to give the shimmers in the eye a nice pop, and I find that whiteout really does that. And here we have it. Here is our Baby Groot. I love this one. I think Baby Groot is one of the cutest characters. Aside from Grogu, I think Baby Groot is one of the cutest little characters there is in the Marvel Universe. I had so much fun drawing this little guy, and I hope you did as well. If you enjoyed today's lesson, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And once you do, hit that bell notification so you know when I upload the next. And if for some reason you did not enjoy today's lesson, please let me know down in the comments below what I can do to help you learn how to draw the characters that you want to know how to draw. On that note, if there is a character that you have not seen in the playlist, but you really want to know how to draw that character, please let me know who that is in the comments. If you've been following along with all the tutorials in the last 6 months, I would love to see the progress that you're making. Please tag me on Instagram or TikTok, and I would be happy to check out your work. You can also follow me there to see what I am doing today, as well as the other tutorials that I am posting frequently. I really hope you had fun and enjoyed today's lesson. I know I did. I will see you right back here next Tuesday with another awesome tutorial. Keep practicing, keep drawing, never give up. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.